This is it. For anyone hoping to sneak into the top 10 in points, Spa offers one last chance. That cutoff point will decide who is eligible for $1,500 in prizes at the finale. Earning around $100 for a podium is one thing. This might amp up the pressure immeasurably. We'll see who goes all in today as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Racing Edge Esports Championship. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Samuel Ryman and Peter Mackay. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Spa-Francorchamps is a classic and a favorite in the racing world. It's fitting to close out the main part of the season here. Let's hop on board with Daniel Morad to see how the drivers will get around this historic circuit.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Morad, and this is your Racing Edge track guide at the Spa circuit, one of the greatest in the world, and we're driving the Porsche RSR. Just crossing the start line now to start the lap into the first turn, La Source, hairpin corner, down to first gear. You want to be tight to the apex on the inside and focus on really clean exits. From this point onward in the RSR, we're going to be flat out going up through the gears, through one of the world's most famous corners, Eau Rouge. As we make the left, the right, and the left, you can afford to cut a little bit at the top of the hill, but you have to be careful for those slowdown penalties. So that's something to watch in the race. Down the long straight, this is going to be a very key area for overtaking. We're going to be looking for the 100-meter board, hard on the brakes, down to third gear. You want to be all over the inside curbs. You don't want to go too wide in the exit because you need to set up for this right-hander. Use all the curbs on the inside and outside up to fourth gear. We're going to be revving out fourth. Watch for locking on the front right corner down to second gear. Keep it nice and tight on the inside. You want to use all the curb, but you have to get back over to the right. Use the curb on the inside. Be careful on exit. You will get an off-track penalty there. We have a limit in the races. Very fast corner here, down to fourth gear. Keep it tight to the curb. You want to be all over the exit, but early on power. Another good overtaking opportunity into here. Down to third gear. Keep it tight to the apex. The front end does tend to want to wash off, but you have to keep it tidy because it's a right-left transition. Up to fourth gear, down to third, all over the inside curb. Be careful on the exit. You don't want to go too wide because you will get stuck up on that AstroTurf and lose a little bit of traction. You let the car breathe out, up through the gears now, flat out, up to sixth. With all the downforce, not such a tricky corner. You can take this flat out in sixth gear without any issues whatsoever. Probably one of the most controversial areas on the track. A little lock up there. You want to maximize your braking though. That's so important. Get the car turned, tidy, and on power early across the line to complete one lap here at the Spa circuit.
They see a lap around Spa-Francorchamps as the great Daniel Morad drives us around this very long and very challenging circuit. But Sam, I said it before, it feels fitting that we're going to wrap things up here because it tends to be one of the more popular tracks here on iRacing.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and rightfully so, because this is a Grand Prix circuit that still has an old Grand Prix feel. There's plenty of overtaking zones. Every corner, except for one, has a name, and that corner is appropriately known as No Name. So, you know, everyone can enjoy having discussions about this course and all that, and it's just got a nice flow to it. It's an enjoyable track to go around. And it produces some great races as well, due to the overtaken zones, due to the tricky parts of this track, you know, causing the odd slip up or two. We're going to see a dramatic race today, and I'm not just saying that because of a circuit, but I'm saying that because of what we've seen all season long. I think we're going to end this championship with a thriller.
I think so as well. There's certainly a lot on the line considering even though it doesn't win you the money today, it wins you the chance to earn the money next round because all 10 drivers, top 10 of the points of each class will be eligible to compete for that money at Bathurst. Speaking of which, let's head over to Peter, who's got the GTE points here.
Yeah, and at the moment it's Alex Simonic who is very much in control, 17 points ahead of Caden Bin, with Daniel Morad moving up to third after his podium last time out. Equaled 78 points back is Nick Rowland and Giuliano Romagnolo, with Alexander Davidson 82 points back. We've got to look a little bit further down for that top 10 bubble for the guys getting through to the shootout, and that is going to be a very busy battle, and we will keep you up to date with that as the action progresses.
And of course, there's also the GT4 class fighting for their own cash prizes. Sam, I know you've been doing the math on this, so you're pretty well versed in how things sit.
Yeah, well, you don't need to do a whole lot of math to work out that if this was a traditional format championship, Andrew Warren would have won it by now, despite the fact that he wasn't competing in this class last round in Spain, and he's not here again tonight, but that doesn't matter. Honestly, the battle I'm going to be keeping my eye on is one off of this chart. See, as close as these points are, all of these guys you see here are safe to proceed to Bathurst. The drivers from 8th on back in the points are not, so that includes Manning, Nye, Schrader, and the likes of Bailey, Steinhausen, Stone, and Zinn could try and punch their way in with a good finish here today in Spa.
And what's this race itself going to be like? Well, we've got our race details ready to inform our new viewers. As we mentioned, round 8 out of 9, but this is the last before we essentially go to what is a single round playoffs for round 9. Now, the two different classes are the GTE class, which has the Porsche 991, and then the GT4 class, which has the 718 Cayman that you can drive. It's a 40-minute race, and no pit stops expected out here today. And they can win some cash as well today. Each of the podium finishers in each class get some money in their pocket for their worries. And then, of course, they have a fixed setup in this series. So drivers don't have to try and fiddle with the car to find speed. It's all about getting out on track, getting the practice, and seeing how quick you can go once you hop in that seat. Now, one more mention of our promoter. If you want to put your racing skills to the test on the track, visit racingedge.com and check out the latest listings for race cars and classic cars. From super quick McLarens to vintage Ferraris, racingedge.com will cater for your needs. Want to learn more about how to get into motor racing? Visit racingedge.com/media for more. Also, are you looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions? From official series sponsorships to commercial placements, we have advertising options customizable to suit your company's needs. Follow the link in the video description to learn more. Right now, they've got qualifying underway, and unlike as is typical here, Peter, we have some time to actually follow the qualifying because usually the laps are so quick, we're just catching the last of them, but it takes so long to get around here. I don't think we have anybody who set a time yet.
Yeah, we're watching closely. We're very patiently waiting for our drivers to start coming over the line and start posting some times. And here at Spa-Francorchamps, it's I think it must have the strictest stewards of any track on iRacing, because if you just step over the edge of the curb, you'll be given an off-track penalty. And in qualifying, that's critical because that invalidates your lap. And with only 2 flying laps, this, I think, qualifying is going to be as critical as it has been all season, especially for our drivers who are in the mid-pack, who are trying to get that final spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about that. If you're outside looking in, it's really going to be important to have a good day today. And in some cases, the rivals hoping that their other competitors don't have that great of a day. And Sam, I know you were reporting on some of the drivers who in the GT4s do have ability, and some of them haven't shown up, though, that won't have the ability to defend themselves, per se.
Yeah, I don't see Open here yet, and that's a shame because he comes into this race 11th in the points, so he won't be able to bump his way in. And Nye is not here. Now, Nye sits 9th in the points, so right now he is safe. You know, he's on the inside. He would have to hope that the likes of Bailey and Steinhausen don't get out of here with a top 5 finish.
All right, we're getting a few of our GTEs across the line. Hapla temporarily hold the pole, but now Phil Deans is up on the top spot. He's come in very, very fast for this Simicube team. And right now, he's looking quite good. Sam Fellows who's been very, very fast himself, is among the top of our very few GT4s that have put a time in. Phil Schrader's the other one, just waiting for a few more of them to come to the line. This is the Grand Prix layout, so it's just like how they run in F1, in which the timing line is very close to the exit of the bus stop chicane.
One other driver we should look at in qualifying as well is number 13, Robert Wickens. And any IndyCar fans watching tonight will recognise that name. And well, he has an incredibly distinctive paint scheme, beautiful looking car. That it's almost like a zebra pattern, or zebra as they say in North America. We could call it the flying zebra that Robert Wickens is at the wheel of his Porsche 911 RSR.
And, I tried to see if he was streaming, but he wasn't up yet, so maybe I'll have to go and look one more time. Maybe our fans can give a glance for us and let us know if he is actually going to be on the air for this one, but certainly glad to have him. He is an inspirational story for just about any, if they've been following his recovery from his horrible crash back at Pocono some time ago. Meanwhile, it looks like we got a few more in the GT4s on the board. Ted Bradbury looking pretty quick himself, even though he's about half a second behind Sam Fellows, but they get him in across, and let's see what he can do. Looks like, unfortunately, that lap was discounted with an off track. Very easy here, Peter, for them to get those off tracks in qualifying.
Oh yeah, very much so. It's a proper, as we see Robert Wickens coming over the line into the flying zebra. Nope, didn't get one. So there you go. This is happening a lot here today in this race, in qualifying. Sorry, they are really, really strict on the track limits here at Spa.
Phil Schrader down into the timing line, goes quicker by about a tenth, the 2:33.3, and that'll actually give him a spot. He's up to third now. You got Thomas Manning and his bright yellow Porsche, hard to miss him. Number 26 out of the final chicane. That looked tidy. Was the rest of the lap on the course, though? Nope, it was not. That was a discounted lap for the number 26.
I'm sure Sam Fellows out there in the number 35 provisional pole in GT4 right now is hoping this qualifying session will hurry up and finish, because despite all of his success this season, and there we go, Ted Bradbury goes to the top. I was about to say, despite all his success this season, Fellows has yet to take pole, but he does still have his second lap.
And then you've got Morley coming to the line, and he's going to take the pole away. Here we thought Bradbury was putting the heat on, almost 451 degrees. But Morley, even hotter out on the track in that number 6. Herrera, as he crosses, stays in 5th place, as that lap didn't count.
Yeah, and Fellows has been off course. He won't improve. Go ahead, Peter.
I just know that I think this has got to be the biggest field of GTE cars we've had all season. So you can tell it's the day where the big prize of that crucial playoff spot's being handed out.
Alex Ellis, he gets a time in finally. That's going to be good enough for 6. It's important for him to get a good day today. What about Brian Zinn? He's down to the line. He sits 9th and among the last of the drivers with a time here in the GT4s. A little hot into the bus stop chicane. He's going to be followed across by Robert Wickens, still looking for his lap time so that he can at least be gridded up somewhere to where he has is expected. The number looks like the car of Brian Zinn goes a little quicker, but that'll keep him in 10th. And Wickens' time is going to put him in 15th. So as the clock ticks down, that's the end of our qualifying. So nobody else able to put a time in, and that means our grid is now set. Let's go through our starting order, starting out with the GTEs. We can actually split this up for once, Peter. We've got enough. Phil Dean's on the pole with Dakota Fripp starting in 2nd place. Ilka Happala will be starting 3rd today. You got Alex Simonik in P4 with Alex Herrera next to him in 5th, and then another Alex after that. Ellis starts in 6th spot. Breaking that up, it is Nick Rowland starting 7th, and Alexander Davidson, back to the Alexes, in 8th position. Daniel Morad only good enough for 9th today in qualifying, and Caden Ben mysteriously also slow with 10th here, Peter.
rather difficult qualifying for Caden Brown. He's had a few of those this season. Next along in 11th is Stephen Jeffrey alongside Tay Kim. And then it's Andy Cantu and Andres Preto. And then on the final row of the grid in GTE, it is Robert Wickens and Aidan Shadbolt.
Michael Morley will lead off the GT4 field ahead of Ted Bradbury. Sam Fellows will start third ahead of Thomas Cope. Michael Broomhead will start fifth in class ahead of Stephen Sheriff. And then on the fourth row in GT4 is Phil Schrader and Tom Binderloss. Thomas Manning and Brian Zinn are the 9th and 10th fastest GT4 cars and the last cars on the grid who will have a timed lap. There are multiple cars in both classes, Joe, who were not able to set a lap. And are we doing another standing start here?
Let me check to see if there is a pace car in front of them. That'll be the telltale sign. No, there is not. Yeah, we are doing another standing start, it seems. And Robertson, Stone, Bailey, Simpson, Steinhausen, Beans, Hunt, Boschel, and Boschel are the last of the drivers that did not put times in. So hopefully the drivers got some practice here on their standing starts. A few were definitely caught out. Some weren't very happy about that, but it was the same for everyone. You can see as the engines start to rev now, the lights are up. It's a long wait. Green flag is out. Off the line, Phil Dean's very good. Fripp, not so much. He's immediately going over to try and cover off Simonic and Hapola. Hapola stays to the inside, maybe looking for the 3 wide. No, he's going to get shoved. And in fact, that's going to move a couple cars out of the way. Alex Ellis goes off course. A few more getting turned around, almost 4 wide back there, as we'll have to take a look at that replay and dissect it later.
Michael Morley, pole sitter in GT4, jumped at the start and then made contact with Thomas Cope in the first corner. It's been a very chaotic start in the GT4 class.
Deans is looking
and Broomhead has crashed. Broomhead crashes coming out of Raidalon.
And more cars, unfortunately, scattering. You could see in the background there that we're having to take evasive action. We head up to Simonic now, who is in third place, trying to challenge Dakota Fripp. Phil Dean's in front of him, but we've seen this before. The 3 teammates have stretched away and can fight amongst each other, but will they fight?
Well, they said the Alex Simonic assured us that they were fighting last time out, but I have to say I remain unconvinced. But today might be different because, of course, Simonic, he's safe in the playoffs, but Phil Deans, he is the one who could throw a little bit of, he could throw something in the ointment here. He's on 40 points right now, so he needs a good bag of points to ensure his safety in the playoffs.
Look at this mess heading down into Puan. These are GTE cars trying to get through the GT4s, being led by Wickens, going way off the course to try and avoid them. That's Davidson and Jeffrey. How they come out the other side without another incident. Sam Fellows is leading that GT4 class as well, Sam.
Yes, the Fellows, they were basically 4 wide heading into the first corner at the start there for the GT4 start, Joe, and there was a bit of contact, but they all got away with it initially. Michael Morley's black flag has been... Not really sure what that's for, but there's a million different reasons it could have been for, watching how chaotic this opening lap has been.
Quite easily been the, it looked like Hapola was basically just shoved forward. We see it all the time at La Source in turn 1, where we saw it with Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc getting together with I think it was Nico Hulkenberg actually who punted them all together. So it's very much a danger spot, that turn 1 La Source hairpin.
Much has changed up at the front. Dean still leads Fripp, who still leads Simonic. The gap between themselves and Hapola, who's recovered well from that shove. Well, 3 seconds back, and he's still in 4th, but he's got a gap to try and make up. There you see him on screen now. He's leading ahead of Tay Kim, Nick Rowland, and Alex Herrera, as well as Aidan Shadbolt, following relatively closely. Stewards have got a lot of work here, and there's plenty of chatter over the radio that we're hearing behind the scenes between the drivers' teams and our live steward.
And they don't have a lot of time to figure it all out, Joe. It's only a 40-minute long race, but remember, a lap around here takes 2.5 minutes, so these laps will click off, in a hurry. There's not going to be a lot of them.
True. So not too many opportunities. As we watch these GTEs, we can happen an eye on Tom Binloss and Thomas Cope, the two Toms fighting hard. In fact, way off track there for Binloss, who's only going to get an incident point, and I believe they don't have a DQ limit for those here today. But Cope stays right behind him, his teammate continuing to hound him, and that's Steven Sheriff back there in 6th place in the 993.
Well, Binloss got an amazing start, Joe. He was able to get through all that opening lap carnage we saw in GT4 class. He started quite far back in the GT4 field, but here he is, 4th in class right now. But now he's starting to pay the penalty. He's got a bunch of cars behind him. Now his teammate, Cope, is being kind of nice to him, but I think Sheriff's getting a little impatient and he wants to find his way by these two purple cars.
Side by side through Blanchimont, and everybody's going to stay on track, but look at how much Binloss was slowed up. And now not only is Sheriff coming through, but that's Thomas Manning all for position. Manning almost runs out of track, nearly getting squeezed off, looking for 3 wide. Holy cow, and now another car joins the fray. That is Doisich back there in the number 44.
So Binloss has just lost 4 positions there. There was a little bit of Rubbins racing, but nothing more than that, and they all got through. Sheriff keeps his position over the car behind.
Just an update, guys, at the front of GTE. Interestingly, Simonic going straight on at the bus stop here at Spa. And that's
sorry,
now he has to drop
that
back
battle
behind his teammate.
Sorry, the battle that we just ducked away from Sheriff side by side through Eau Rouge got shoved off. My goodness. Let's take a look at the replay, the 993, and I believe that was Doisich next to him. Oh, and just glances the barrier, so he's able to keep going, but he has to have some damage from that. Doisich slows. He might have had a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, I think they both got slowed down for that. Yeah, let's put it this way. If you so much as clip the curb sometimes, Eau Rouge will give you a slowdown penalty on iRacing. So, yeah, but we got more action up front.
Trying to jump us around, but Simonic and Fripp battling for 2nd place. Now that they've lost touch with the teams in front of them. Is stuck at that 3 seconds behind. Not really a challenge. We're on board currently with Simonic in the number 250 as he closes under braking into La Source. By the way, a correction for myself. They do have penalties and limits here. By the way, 25 incidents and they will get a drive-through. And then at 40 incidents, they will be disqualified. With how much contact we're seeing out on the track, they're a little bit worried.
Just had confirmations, guys, that Stephen Jeffrey was given a 30-second stop and hold. So not only just a drive-through in this incredibly long pit lane here at Spa, given a 30-second stop and hold. So he's obviously been apportioned the blame likely for the turn 1 incident. He is in the GTE class, so that's quite likely. And also Alex Simonic getting past Dakota Fripp there, so he moves forward. Phil Deans, that's big for his championship. Remember, he's come in late in this championship, so he's on 40 points coming into this race, but set to score a maximum of 25, so that would put him in safely. However, Alex Ellis, who's on 28, he will score 0 because he is out of this race already.
Oh, shame for Alex Ellis. And if you're wondering how to tell the difference between these two teammates, Fripp has the pink rear wing, and the black rear wing belongs to Simonic behind him. Meanwhile, let's head back to the GT4 lead. Bradbury is still holding on to the back of Fellows. It's only half a second between them. Considering how much this is usually seen as a draft track, Sam, I think that Bradbury's still in the hunt here.
He's not only in the hunt for the race win, he's in the hunt for the championship fight. 10th in the points, Phil Schrader only has 24 points. If, for whatever reason, Schrader doesn't score points today, and right now he's not in position to do so, anyone, you, me, any of our spectators could have signed into this race, win this race, get the point for the fastest lap, and beat Phil Schrader in the points. If Ted Bradbury can do that today, he could be in the championship finale in Bathurst, but if he finishes second, that's not going to be enough.
So impetus for him to be a little bit aggressive today, and you can see he did in fact gain on the Kemmel straight with the slipstream. So Fellows sees him all the closer now. It's down to 0.3 of a second. They're swinging it through Puhan, the plunging double apex left-hander, down to the lower half of the circuit here. I wonder if he's going to have a go into the bus stop the way that he continues to close.
The other driver we need to keep an eye on is Jeremy Steinhausen. He's been part of all that action throughout the middle of the top 10 in the GT4 class. He's 7th right now. Well, 7th pays 6 points. If he gets 6 points, he would be tied with Phil Schrader for 10th in the points. So Jeremy Steinhausen could be a very interesting driver to watch late on. And right behind him, into the wall, goes Stephen Sheriff.
For another time, Sheriff finds himself contacting the barrier. This time, though, all of his own doing. Looks like he's going through Fanyes. Does he just go wide, maybe? Ooh, a little bit of wheel spin there.
Yeah, but we need to come back live because Fellows and Bradbury are approaching some of the best passing opportunities on the circuit. First, they're coming up to La Source. Then, of course, they'll go through Eau Rouge, where we saw earlier in the race why that's not a good passing opportunity. But after that, they'll have the Kemmel Straight Les Combs complex, and that's where the best place, honestly, for Bradbury to try and make his move.
If you're watching the left side of your screen, you may have noticed that Fripp did go back by Simonic. Don't need a replay on that one. That was very much team tactics. It was easily slipstreamed by. Let's see if it's going to be just as easy for Ted Bradbury, though. He's in the red, white, and blue car that you see on your screen. We're riding on board with Sam Fellows, the number 35, up and across the hill of Radion. Looks like he got a good run. Isn't going to be enough, though. He's going to hold to the inside, plays defensive. And I don't see Bradbury closing quite enough this time through. So as they break finally for Lacombe, your order still remains Fellows, then Bradbury.
And Steinhausen is going by bind loss. And well, he's challenging at the least. This was for 6th place. If Steinhausen can finish 6th, that might be enough to get him into the Championship 10. But so far, he is not able to make a move on bind loss.
Bind loss retains that P6. And if they keep fighting like that, they got to watch out. Sheriff's still behind him. Despite the contacts with the wall, he doesn't seem to be too bad on speed. They're also bringing along Christopher Bailey. And this could be a 4-car fight quite easily. Down into Jackie X corner. Everybody keeping it nice and tidy there. I kind of wondered when we'd see cars start to respect the track limits if they found themselves running low on those incident points.
Yeah,
great battle going. Sorry, Sam, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one final note, Peter, that Bailey is also in that championship fight to get inside the top 10. He does have damage on his car, though. I don't know if that's going to hurt him. Back to you, Peter.
Great. Sorry to interrupt.
Amazing battle at P5. Yeah, if you've been watching this one, P5 for GTE, and this matters. This really does. Alex Ellis, sorry, my apologies, Nick Rowland in there. I keep getting thrown off by his livery. Alex Herrera and Tay Kim all having a great old punch up there, and actually Herrera and Rowland getting together, a little bit of contact there as well. So it's all happening here in GTE in the mid-pack as the leaders clear off at the front.
Ooh. And if I just heard correctly from the stewards, I think Herrera may have been given a drive-through penalty. We'll get confirmation on that soon enough. Regardless, that was some great fighting. It'll be a shame to see them split apart.
Yep, they have. Number 95 has been given a drive-through penalty. I will try and find out for why that is.
While he's looking into that, this will free up this windscreen of Take Him we ride on board with right now. He can see if he can tackle Nick Rowland. They come up to Blanchemont one more time. Quite as easy as it is with F1 cars. With less downforce on these GT machines, but now they slow it up into the bus stop chicane. Are we going to see Herrera duck in? There he goes.
Bradbury's going. Yep, Bradbury's going for the lead in GT4. Joe on the outside as they hit Les Combs on Sam Fellows. Is he going to be able to keep it on the track, though? I think, no, he's not. He is off.
That's going to be a slowdown penalty for Bradbury. How much does he have to give away, though? He's obviously not going to have the lead. Oh, but wow, it looks like he's sticking with him, so he didn't lose much at all. Sam Fellows still right in front of him.
Yeah, I can confirm, guys, that Alex Herrera has given a penalty for an incident, lap 1, turn 1, and I think we'll have plenty more to hear about that incident. That's so typical here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in the first corner at La Source.
As we continue to ride on board with Fellows, looking over his rear wing on his Cayman. Again, there is more at stake here than just the win for this race. But Bradbury's trying to fight his way in for a chance to win $500 next round at Bathurst. He has to win, though, to do that. This has been pretty ideal conditions for our drivers, even with it as sunny out as it is. Unusual here at Spa. 23 degrees Celsius. That's, of course, 74 degrees Fahrenheit in regular terms for those of us here in the States.
Bundlos and Steinhausen, it's getting personal, they reckon! They both reckon! Sheriff is in it! 3 cars involved, 4 cars, all 4 of them! A massive wreck coming out of the corner.
And that is Bindloss on his lid. My goodness. Wild stuff. This was coming out of Stavilo. See if we can dissect this one. Steinhausen turns in. Oh, and he just gets tipped. Bindloss, unfortunately, right in front of Sheriff with little time to react. He gets tumbled over. And then the 4th car involved looks to be Bailey.
The leaders had to feel. See there, Phil Dean's going past there as well. The leaders having to make their way through that wreck, but it looks like they have got through safely, thankfully. But whoa, big stuff in GT4.
Yeah, because exactly at the same moment that happened, Bradbury did get by Fellows through the Blanchimont section and took the lead under braking in the swimming pool chicane, not swimming pool chicane, bus stop chicane, one of the famous named chicanes.
Something suburban, you know, out there. But anyways, as we go back to Simonic and Fripp, who do seem to be fighting somewhat here. It is Fripp who currently leads those two. Simonic looks to the inside, but then thinks twice about it, ducks back into the racing line. They've lost 4 seconds up to Phil Deans. The number 18 basically has this one as long as he stays out of trouble.
This is good news for Fripp as well. He's just got to get a few points in the bag and he will be safely into the playoffs. So where he is right now, he's scoring more than enough points to get himself into the playoffs, despite only coming into the championship halfway through the season.
And you know, I wonder if this is actually team tactics for putting Fripp ahead of Simonic earlier and why Simonic is not fighting him too hard. Because Fripp is the only one of the 3 that is on the outside looking in. So the 250 needs as many points as he can get.
Of course, Fripp came in, I just remember his debut was at Road Atlanta and he was banned from the next race straight away for his conduct in the race, but then had a big score at Silverstone and gathered some points up at Catalunya last week as well. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Joe. I think the SimbaCube team, they've been really lucky to have these 3 really fast guys being able to almost play team orders at will.
Behind them, how about this? Nick Rowland has caught up to Hapola. The Finn is under threat and seems to be lacking a little bit of straight line speed. Looking to the outside now. Rowland going to try and take it side by side. Nope, he decides better of it. Hapola carries his speed well off of Blanchimont. And it doesn't look like he's under threat, even though Rowland shows his nose slightly. But I wonder if that contact, Peter, at La Source on lap 1, could that have maybe damaged the diffuser at the rear of Hapola's car?
Yes, definitely. I mean, Hapola's car was almost at a 45-degree angle with the nose pointing forward, so he got a big thump in the back there. And yes, the rear diffuser, that's one of the biggest changes with this new iteration in 2017 of the 911 RSR. The rear diffuser, absolutely critical additional aerodynamics. So if it's been damaged, that's not good at all for Ilkka Hapola. So let's have a look then at this replay, Joe.
Yeah, we want the number 27. There we go. He's the one that's going to get tipped, and then there's more action with Herrera as well. No, Herrera was the one that hit him. I was trying to figure out who the other cars were that had contact behind them. Wow, that was almost miraculous for Hapola to get away from that.
Yeah, he was. I don't know how. Yeah, how he's running at the pace that he's running. He's running in 4th place right now. Is Ilkka Hapola now? He 4th place. I just checked the points here. He's another guy who's sort of on the bubble, or is well below the bubble, I should say. Yeah, he probably needs. He kind of needs to win this race to make it into the playoffs.
The traffic has not been kind to Roland because he's lost touch with Hapola slightly. And you can see among them, that is Morley in there as well, our 3rd place driver in the GT4 class. He's trying to run away from Thomas Cope, who's the bright purple machine behind them. Johuk Im in there trying to see if he can stick his nose in and try and catch up to the top 5 in the GTEs. That'll interrupt them temporarily. So much happening out on track. There's just no time to sit still out here.
Well, I can try and clear up a bit of a championship side confusion on GT4 if you want that, Joe.
Go for it.
Ted Bradbury right now is leading GT4s and has the fastest lap. That would give him 26 points overall if he can hold on ahead of Sam Fellows. 6th in class now is Christopher Bailey. He comes into this race on 18 points. 6th place would give him another 8 points, so that would tie him on 26 points. Now, I think Bradbury would win the tiebreaker if he's able to get the win today, but if Bradbury loses the fastest lap, he only gets 25 points, and that would give the top 10 position to Bailey.
So we continue to watch this fight for the lead, though. I don't think it's a done deal for Ted Bradbury. Look at him being threatened by Sam Fellows as they come up to Eau Rouge one more time. That's Cantu and Ben. We're going to fight for position, but it's going to be a little bit tight. Both of them having to go a little bit off track. And as they climb up the Camel Straight, Ben's going to have the advantage. He goes to the outside with a defensive move from Cantu, tries to squeeze him down, and they finally break for the Lacombe chicane. Still, I think we're going to see Ben get it as another car goes off track, and that is Bradbury again for the 2nd time.
He likes that line, but I think this time he's going to have to serve a slowdown and lose the lead.
Hold to the racing line, and indeed, there goes Fellows, but he serves them so well. Look at that. He's still right with them. He is not losing anything at all except for that position.
He must have tried that line during practice, because he almost loses it.
Whoa, holy cow. Ted Bradbury, all out of sorts with dirty tires. Let's watch that one more time. Let's see, are we seeing the cut course first here? No, we're going to see the save. This is on board. Watch the hands. Woohoo!
Oh.
That was actually
using
pretty
all
smooth.
of the inbuilt traction control of the Porsche Cayman there.
Really did. And still, he's only 8 tenths behind. He didn't lose, but a couple tenths to the car ahead with that save. Daniel Morad going to split them now, as they also have Alex Herrera go by. Now, we've got a battle behind some of these drivers for overall position between Simpson and Wickens. Both of these drivers had to come in for repairs, unfortunately. But they're back out once again, fighting for 14th and 15th in the GTE class.
Yeah, interesting. Wickens, he was having a right old battle with Herrera and Daniel Morad as well. I think Daniel Morad's a lap ahead as we see. That was a firm one there.
Yeah, Simpson broke way early, and Wickens took it with ease. I thought he was going to overshoot the corner, but he's actually going to put some of the GTE4 leaders between himself and his rival as he gets a little bit of a touch from behind from Morley. Awful tight there through the opening hairpin. It seems appropriate that Wickens has a never say die attitude during this race. Still out there fighting for it, even though he's outside of the points and at this point just going for pride. Whoop, as that's going to be a slowdown penalty up through Eau Rouge.
I said we'd be in for a thriller today.
You're not wrong. And yes, there he serves the penalty, and Simpson easily goes on by.
Simpson also, I have to say, I do love Simpson's paint scheme, running the Brumos Porsche colours, an ever so famous Porsche team from the United States. Of course, Hurley Haywood had a lot of success with that particular team, and great to see the Brumos colours out there on track.
Yeah, of course, Haywood very connected to Morad in his connection with his win at Daytona. Haywood, the winningest driver there in the 24-hour sports car race. Still nothing has changed for our leader in the GTEs. Phil Deans is up there. Interestingly, though, they've got Simonic back in front of Fripp now. Not sure when we missed this pass, and if it maybe was affected by a mistake or maybe lap traffic. They haven't lost time to Ilkka Happila. It's about 6.5 seconds to the fourth place driver, who's still playing catch up.
Yeah, they're certainly running in flying formation. It's interesting that this season has been a tale of two halves, really. The opening few rounds, you would have very much Caden Bin was up there a lot. Of course, Nico Barone, who left, who hasn't come back to the series after being banned for a race. And ever since the Alex Simonics had his Simicube buddies to run beside him, well, it's been a completely different story, hasn't it? It's been completely different out at the front.
Yeah, you have to wonder what would have happened if they didn't have that coming together at the first lap at Barcelona. Ooh, the battle between Thomas Cope and Morley continues to stay close. In fact, Cope just nearly ran into the back of the number 6 car, outbraking himself into the bus stop chicane. And this is for third position. This is for cash.
And it's almost for the lead. Throughout the lap traffic, it looks like Fellows and Bradbury have came off worse than Morley and Cope. So our top 4 in GT4 are all within viewing distance of one another. And really, the race could belong to any of them, although Fellows is holding a pretty comfortable cushion right now.
It looks like there's about 2 or 3 seconds from first to fourth currently. There you see them rising over the crest of Radion. That's Sam Fellows in the bright blue and white machine. Ted Bradbury in the red, white, and blue. Then the mainly red and white machine of Michael Morley running behind them, followed, of course, by Thomas Cope in the very neon-colored black and purple car. Well, we've already passed halfway through this race. So much has been happening. They're starting to get towards the end of things. Looking at 4 or 5 laps left to go, I think. Seeing 5 at the line for Phil Deans currently. And, well, that line's actually coming up very quickly for Phil Deans. There you can see our leader in the GTE class has extended it to 5.7 seconds now over Alex Simonic. And again, Deans is able to compete for the $1,000 prize come next round, as currently he is solidly within that top 10 group in points. Unless something dire happens to him, and a lot of other drivers are able to overtake him, which he is within 12 points of Alex Ellis, but as we mentioned, Ellis is done for the day. Fripp is his next worry. But,
Well, yeah, we're not seeing a whole lot of lap traffic issues going on right now, Joe. There was a lot of action for a moment, and that's kind of died down a little bit again. But the problem is I think the GTE leaders will be catching the GT4 leaders right again when the clock strikes 0. So that it could we could be setting up for a very interesting end to the race here.
Lock up there from Alex Simonic coming down into the Brussels hairpin. That's you can tell these guys are pushing anyway with Simonic and Fripp. They're having a really good old battle. I'm sure they've got a big smile on their faces behind the wheel right now. Of course, Simonic, he's safe, and Fripp, where he is right now, he's going to gather plenty of points to make sure he's got a spot in the playoffs. All looking good right now for the Simicube guys.
Yeah, Dakota Fripp at 27 points needs to overtake either take him or Nicholas Verone. Verone's not here to protect himself, So that'll be a little bit easier. Kim, though, where is Kim right now? Kim's actually behind him, so he is gaining points on him. Kim's actually trying to catch Im up ahead of him in the number 24. There you see him in the red and white machine coming out of Stavelo. Whoa, both of them going very, very wide.
Yeah, I think Take Him, he'll get a slowdown penalty for that for sure, using way more than the track limits there in the 777. But he's okay. He's the guy on the very much the preferable side of the bubble, so he's going to gather enough points. He's already got enough points, if you like, to keep his spot at this point.
As they come out of the bus stop, down to complete their next lap. 18 seconds behind our overall leader. We already heard Sam mention that things have spread out significantly by this point in the race. A little wide at the apex of La Source for him, but still Take Him's not able to do anything with it. They plunge downhill once more. It'll compress at the bottom over the creek of Eau Rouge. And we got the battle happening once again between Simonic and Fripp, but Fripp doesn't take advantage of it. He closed in quite a bit and didn't go on the attack, interestingly.
Yeah, they're getting some traffic now, though. This is where it could really matter now. They've got one of the GT4 runners in front of them, so Simonic, he's got to be the front gunner. And they splits them. Dakota Fripp gets stuck there, and Simonic able to use the GT4 car as a bit of a pick there coming out of the Jackie X corner.
So that spreads them apart. That gives us a chance once again to look at our GT4 lead between Fellows and Bradbury. Despite 2 slowdown penalties and despite nearly losing the car and almost binning it, Ted Bradbury, if I could say his name, is only 7/10 behind Sam Fellows still. This has just been an incredible run. You have to wonder if Ted could lessen the mistakes, how fast would he be?
Well, right now, if you head over to GSRC.tv, you'll be able to follow along with live timing and scoring during this race. And why you want to do that is to make sure that Ted Bradbury holds on to this fastest lap. Because remember, winning the race is not going to be enough to get Ted Bradbury into the top 10 in points if Christopher Bailey finishes 6th. And right now, Christopher Bailey is in 6th. Bradbury needs to win the race and get fastest lap. Right now, he has fastest lap, and is he going to go off for a 3rd time? Almost.
Oh, and now not only is he going to pay for that one in time, but look behind him. Morley closes in. If he loses that 2nd place, it'll certainly put the nail in the coffin on whether or not he can go through. Last thing he wants is to be slowed up with a battle for 2nd place when his eyes have to be on the prize of the top step of the podium.
I almost feel like he should have aborted the chicane again. He didn't lose as much time when he did when he did that.
Looks like he's recovering a little bit here, but his time up to Fellows is up to 1.3 seconds. Behind him, Morley isn't quite. Oh, and another mistake from Ted Bradbury. It's these chicanes. Oh my goodness.
Maybe it's his tires. Peter, I think. Yeah, Peter, I think you have a bit more experience behind the wheel of one of these cars. Could Bradbury's tires be causing him problems?
I wouldn't say so, no. I wouldn't say so, particularly the GT4 car. It's got quite a lot less power than the RSR. Yeah, I would be surprised if his tyres were causing him problems. I think it's more so, I think it's the point you make that he knows that only a win will do, and also only the fastest lap will do. So he's kind of doing a race and a qualifying session all wrapped into one to try and get that last spot in the playoffs.
That was close coming through the bus stop chicane. Morley once again finding Thomas Cope nearly trading paint with his bumper through that chicane. And we did hear a driver last night in the PRL GT4 Club Sports Series talk about how important preserving the tires in these GT4 cars are. And he had immense speed towards the end of the race. So I suspect we're seeing the reverse here for Ted Bradbury, as now he's definitely under threat. Morley's going to have a good slipstream as long as he gets the run through Eau Rouge. He was a little off course there. Hopefully he didn't get himself a slowdown penalty. We'll find out soon enough. I think he did. I think he lost a little bit of time there. Not a whole lot. Bradbury scampers away, keeps himself safe for another day.
You know, I just realized that Phil Schrader has made his way up into 9th place. So he'll be part of this tiebreaker too, because he's the one sitting 10th in the points on 24 points. Well, if he finishes 9th, he'll get 26 points too. So I need to work out who would get it there between Schrader and Bailey.
Math is not always our strong suit, but we'll see if we can suss it out. Meanwhile, this one a little bit easier because the only thing that they need to worry about is just finishing the race and collecting the points. Simonic and Fripp have been battling somewhat, very reminiscent of what we talked about last time, Peter, where it's hard to tell if they're actually fighting or not. Ooh, is another lockup, though, from Simonic.
Yeah, certainly for a driver of Simonic's ability, when you see him locking up, that is a very, very telltale sign that he's pushing on. So he's obviously being pressured by his teammate, that's for sure. Now, I want to talk about Tae Kim because by my calculations, he is right in the spot. He cannot afford to drop one spot because that spot will lose him his spot in the playoffs. So at the moment, he's running in 12th place. He's running in 7th place. My apologies. He started 12th. But if he got one more spot, and he's got Caden Bin behind him, he does have quite a cushion right now, but he cannot afford a mistake because that will be his spot in the playoffs gone. So with just a couple of minutes to go, this is pressure on for Tae Kim.
Makes me wonder how much speed Caden Bin actually has since his qualifying didn't look so good. But we're back to P2 here in the GT4s where Bradbury finds his race unraveling, unfortunately. Morley, who challenges him briefly, is not going to be close enough to attack into La Source, but he's looking for the corner exit. Almost gets checked up there at the apex. Let's see if this is enough.
Now, Schrader is not a fan of Bradbury right now, I can tell you that. If Schrader, Bailey, and Bradbury all tied on 26 points, Bradbury would first win the tiebreaker because that means he would have to win this race. But Schrader has a 3rd place finish at Daytona. So, contrary to what I've been saying for a lot during this broadcast, Bailey's 6th place finish today is not enough. He would lose the tiebreaker if Phil Schrader finishes 9th.
Oh, deep into the corner again! Once more, Ted Bradbury flops his way into Lacombe. Morley not able to do anything with it. Cope now sizes him up. He's been aggressive on the brakes. He ducks his nose out. Both of them do. Oh, and there's going to be contact, shoving him off course. Bradbury into the wall as side by side goes Morley and Cope, continuing their fight down through No Name. Cope is going to have to back out of it as Morley now almost forces him his way into 2nd place. That's Phil Deans. That's our leader going by in the GTEs.
That's the last thing. Particularly Dakota Fripp needs, because he does, although he's comfortably in the playoffs, he only is if he finishes where he is right now. So he can't afford to be taken out by a back marker. So this is far from gone yet. This is all heating up in the last couple of minutes. And I've just seen in the in-race chat, Ted Bradbury is expressing his displeasure. But for broadcast, I must admit.
Not really surprised there. So now it becomes a battle for P2 with 2 different drivers from what it was before. Morley and Cope. Bradbury still runs in P4. God, they had such speed that even with that contact with the wall, Bradbury has 22 seconds over Thomas Manning.
Oh, this is really. Oh, look at that, Simonic. Oh my goodness me, Simon really taking a big risk there, going past Bradbury. He had to run right off track. He might have to then slow down now, possibly because he was using way more of the runoff than was allowable. But he's left Fripp behind him.
There's no slowdown penalty on the outside of that corner, so he is safe from that. But the real concern there is how many incident points he has racked up.
And it is the final lap. So Deans has just crossed the line a couple of moments ago. They are on the last lap.
So Sam was 1 lap off on his prediction of them catching each other at the very end. And there you see our leader, Phil Dean, 6.3 seconds ahead of Alex Simonic. And what does he have in terms of lap traffic? Well, nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Deans can cruise from here. And that'll give us 2 quick finishes in succession because remember, he just lapped Sam Fellows. There you see him right there on screen in the number 35. Now, does he have any more of our GTEs coming up to lap him? He does have Hapola and Take Him somewhat close. So Fellows might have a little bit of keeping his eyes on the mirrors here at the end, but shouldn't be too drastic, shouldn't be too dramatic, we hope. Just
Just an update on GTE on our. Sorry, Joe.
Go ahead.
I think that's Take Him now up to 5th, and that will be him safe in the playoffs. I'm sure he will be very happy indeed with his visit here to the Belgian countryside.
We're right in on board with Morley looking back at Cope. There you see him on screen once again. Morley in the red and white machine trying to fend off for that second place. It's going to come down to the end. A little bit of look to the inside, but Cope has to resist the urge. And we're almost done because Phil Deans just came through Blanchimont. One more braking event to go for the number 18. It's another victory for Phil Deans here in the GTE class. The number 18 wins here at Belgium and takes over $100 as well as having a chance at the 1,000 next round. Behind him, Sam Fellows. Oh, there's a battle going on back there. That's 2 cars for position. M and Take Him. Oh, and he coats into M. Unfortunately, shoves him off track, but Fellows is able to survive. The damage isn't too bad. He gets to the line, and Sam Fellows is going to win here in Spa-Francorchamps.
That's going to cost him a lot of positions, though. He was in a tight battle for 5th place there.
And what is that going to do to his chances to get into the top 10 in points, too? You have to wonder. By the way, Morley beat Cope to the line, so Morley takes second, Cope in third, and there's... Oh, that was netcode. Big netcode between the 2 drivers.
I think it's interesting, guys. I was watching Im and Kim coming through there, and I actually thought that Jehok Im, the driver in the 24 car, who looked like he was going to get turned, who looked like he got turned around there by Sam Fellows, but they went past both, one either side of Sam Fellows, and Take Him having to take the same evasive action that Simonic had in the previous lap, and they basically chopped in front of Fellows. So actually, I don't think you could lay any blame at Sam Fellows' door there at all, because they basically chopped in front of them and then charged on the brakes, and Fellows was into the back of them. So I think that's just a racing incident there.
And there comes Schrader across the line to get 9th place. That'll give him 2 points, 26 points overall. And I believe that with his 3rd place finish at Daytona, that will be just enough to scrape his way into the final top 10 over Christopher Bailey.
We'll try and do our best to get that information before we're done with today's broadcast. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Watch on screen because you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. We just watched round 8 and the last of the main season for the Racing Edge Esports Championship. Next round is going to be the playoffs, and we should have our top 10 decided on who gets to compete for $1,500 in prizes. One of those drivers that we believe will, even though it's unofficial on the points so far, is Phil Deans, our winner here today by quite a margin. SimRacing, though, rocking the podium once again with Simonic coming home in second and Dakota Fripp winding up in third. Ilka Hapola, who was good in the qualifying, unfortunately found himself falling victim to the ever-present danger of La Source on lap 1, got tipped around and was only able to recover to 4th place. Take Kim finished P5 with Caden Bin in the 6th position. Alexander Davidson was 7th and Andy Cantu was P8. Daniel Morad finished 9th today with Alex Herrera coming home in 10th after a penalty in mid-race. Johuk Im was 11th, and Nick Rowland, 1 lap down, wound up 12th, Sam.
Yes, and our race winner over in GT4 was Sam Fellows. Now, our graphic will tell you that second place is Michael Morley. However, we believe that even though they cleared the black flag so that he didn't have to serve a drive-through for jumping the start, they are going to add 10 seconds to his race time. So that will drop him down a couple of positions and move Thomas Cope up to second in class and Ted Bradbury third. Thomas Manning came across the line 5th in the GT4 class, ahead of Christopher Bailey. We'll get to Christopher in a moment. Stephen Sheriff, 7th in class, ahead of Brian Zinn in 8th in class. Bill Schrader, 9th in class. And by my math, with his 3rd place finish at Daytona, that is enough to break the tiebreaker over Christopher Bailey and to move himself up in, well, keep himself rather, in the top 10 in points. Charles Bushell rounded out the top 10 in class, and then you get to Hugh Hunt and Jeremy Steinhausen, and then after that, unfortunately, beginning with Robert Wickens, you get to drivers that were not able to make it to the finish today.
Looks like we've got our 3 podium finishers for the GTE class ready to talk to us, and they win as a team, they talk as a team, because we are bringing in Dean, Simonic, and Fripp here together. We'll start with our winner, Phil Deans. Phil, you managed to get up to the front and you managed to pull away. It seemed like once you got up there, there just wasn't much of a threat. You just had to slice through the traffic.
Yeah, I just felt really comfortable here. I mean, the team and I raced the 24 Hours of Spa a couple of weeks ago, so our track knowledge has been as best it could be here. So I just felt very comfortable. I got a great start, and I just knew I had to lay the laps down, and I just had so much fun. This car and track combo was amazing, and I've got to thank all you guys for putting it on. You know, Simicube, Husingfeld, all of my supporters. You know, Global SimRacing. It was a great race.
We'll go to Alex Simonic, who came home in second. Alex, were you aware of the math and the points of trying to get Dakota into the top 10, or was that not entering you guys' mind at all during that race?
It did. Like, as soon as we were on the grid, I told everyone that Dakota needs points. But it turns out Dakota's going camping next week, if that's what the race is. So me and Dakota decided just to have fun and battle it out. As soon as we got through turn 1, I don't know, I guess we subconsciously started leapfrogging with each other, which ended up slowing us down. So we decided just to go single file and then only getting past when someone else makes a mistake. So other than that, it was a really fun race. Phil really destroyed us out there.
Yeah, it looked like he was tough to catch. I mean, Dakota, when you were ahead of Alex, did you feel like you had the speed to try and chase down Phil, or did you know he was gone?
Yeah, I mean, Phil's quick, so I mean, it was just a lot of fun trying to hold on to him in the opening laps, but made a mistake and went braked a little too late into the bus stop, so that kind of messed up my chances a little bit there. Because then I think we were about 2 seconds or so back at that point, and then it was I was just kind of battling a little bit with Alex, and we lost a little bit more time. So I just figured, I mean, Phil's really quick, so I mean, if I made no mistakes, then it would have been a different race for sure.
Ifs, ands, or buts, the arch nemesis of every driver. But let's go back to Phil Deans, our winner, for one more. Phil, obviously you're in the hunt for the $1,000. Considering your pace that you've shown since you've arrived here in this series, do you feel like you've got a nice grand in your pocket come next round?
I wouldn't say that. I'm just going to be coming at it with my all, and I know it's going to be stiff competition. You can never count out anyone. My teammates are going to be strong. Other competition. I mean, it's going to be a great race. I'm more than excited to go around Bathurst.
So a little bit cautious there from our winner today. Thank you once again, guys. Before you take off, we heard Phil's thank yous. Alex and Dakota, have anyone you want to thank for this one?
Yeah, just to reiterate with Phil, Venaval Sim Racing for being an excellent organization for us to race with, as well as our sponsors Simicube, Draw Once, and Valco FI.
Echo what Alex said. I'd like to thank Vendaval Sim Racing for the support, and all my teammates for the support, of course, because I didn't do that much practice beforehand. But thanks to having good teammates to look at data and look at how they're driving around the track, it helps. And I'd like to thank Valco and Draw Once and SimuCube.
Obviously, a lot of camaraderie out there between these drivers. And up next, we got our winner in the GT4, Sam, talking to Sam Fellows.
Yeah, and we already have him in here. Hi, Sam. It's great to speak to you for the second week on the row in Victory Lane. Congrats on your win today.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for the great coverage all season. And yeah, it was a nail biter, but a really fun race all around. So glad to be on the top step.
Now, how much were you aware of Bradbury's situation there? By my math, it almost seemed like if he would have won that race, that would have got him into the top 10 in points. Did you know he was going to race as aggressively as he did?
No, I didn't really know that. I talked to him briefly in the Discord before the race, and yeah, I knew kind of when he was catching me there. I don't know what happened at the start, but my car felt strange to me the first 10 laps or so. So I was trying to take it easy. Maybe I had a little bit of damage, maybe like a 1X or something. Felt a little nervous through the fast stuff, but Ted came on super fast. I made a mistake and let him by. And then just vice versa. I think he made a mistake and I was able to slip by and then keep the gap at what it was. But it was definitely, I was looking at my relative the whole race. It was one of those. And really tricky on the brakes with this car, especially once the track usage goes up. And I found a couple times I was out braking myself and had to really, be conscious of that on the next lap.
Yeah, I wonder if it looks like we might have a chance to talk to Ted. I wonder if that's the issues he was running into because we saw him go wide a couple of times at Les Combes. The start of a race, you mentioned how that was a little bit chaotic, but you got through all that chaos after Morley jumped the start, and then there was a bit of argy-bargy going in the source. You just drove on through and got out to the lead. How important was that?
I think, yeah, after last week, I could just see how important it was to get the jump early. And yeah, Morley definitely tried to close the door on into the source on me. I just, I knew that was my best shot because he's really quick as well. And so I just kind of hugged the the wall there and managed to get on that inside line. And I knew that's all really I had to do is hold that inside line and hug the wall and then just cut clean laps from there. So that was definitely the moment I think. Aside from some of the battles later on, that was a big key.
Well, it was a fun race to watch, and you got great momentum now with 2 wins in a row going into the finale in Bathurst. Congrats once again, Sam. Anything you'd like to say, or anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just thank you guys once again for the great job and coverage you've been doing all season, and yeah, thanks to some of my real life sponsors, Peloti Shoes, Durham Tourism, FAF Motorsports, the Straight Pipes, and shout out to all my family who's tuned in. I've got family that's kind of in lockdown all across the continent. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and I hope we can all hang out in better circumstances sometime soon.
That was our winner here in the GT4 class. Up next, we've got second place, promoted to second place in the GT4 class, with Peter talking to Thomas Cope.
Thomas Cope, welcome to the GSRC commentary box. That was certainly an eventful race that we've come used to expect in the Racing Edge series. But we'll start off with lap 1, turn 1. Tell us about your view out of your windscreen at that particular incident.
Yeah, I would like. That's a big one for me. That race, T1 for me. I felt I only had one car on my inside, and I've apologized to Michael. My spotter didn't say anything. Michael told me 3 wide, and yeah, like I only thought there was the one car on the inside, and apparently he was there as well. So I would like to say a big shout out to him. Just unfortunately for that incident, he came out. I feel he came out worse from it, even though he was in front of me. But yeah, it is what it is. It was a big incident and probably decided a lot of the GT4 class results, to be fair.
Now, I know, Thomas, you've had certainly some of the most colourful liveries for us across the season. Tell us about the paint scheme you've got on your car today. I see you've got an earplug sponsor.
Yeah, that's a big one I would have liked to said, and I'm happy you brought it up. So our team, Team Oblivion Racing, just a team for iRace4 in iRacing. We have a couple of the guys also racing in this series who you might have seen their liveries throughout the race. Yeah, Stops Earplugs, they've just recently sponsored us as a team, which is really big for us as a team, which is our first sponsor to get us sort of on the map and get us going, because we've moved into taking this all seriously as a team. So we've just been a bunch of friends who have a bit of a mess around sometimes and do the odd occasional fun races. So they're doing a lot for us. So I'd like to give a big shout out to our new sponsors, Stops Earplugs, and feel free to go and check them out, stopsearplugs.com. To do some really good earplugs.
Fantastic. Well, I have to say, if I'm ever on a long flight, I'll need to. When we get back traveling again, I'll need to go and get some stopped earplugs to help me sleep on the long-term flight. Thomas, thanks so much for coming in to chat to us in the GSRC commentary box, and looking forward to seeing you go in for the big cash prize in the playoffs at Bathurst.
Yep, thank you, and I'll see you all later.
That was second place, Thomas Cope. Promoted up to third is Ted Bradbury, who was fighting for the win for much of the race. Before we get to the controversial moment towards the end, Ted, let's talk about leading up to that. It seemed like you were having trouble with a number of the chicanes, outbraking yourself. Was it the tires or what happened?
I think I was just making silly mistakes personally, like me being inconsistent, just personal mistakes, if I'm honest.
And then let's talk about with 2 laps to go, you were in a fight with Morley and Cope, and you found yourself a little unceremoniously put into the sand trap. What's your take on the event?
So I guess I made a mistake the corner before, so they were on my bumper at the back, and he obviously missed his braking point, probably not on purpose, as he's apologized to me. And that racing incident, in my opinion, he didn't do it on purpose. He apologized straight away, which is just racing respect.
I'm glad to see that there's no hard feelings there, but unfortunately, by our math, it did cost you a chance to compete for the $500 next round at Bathurst. Do you still going to come in and try and see what you can do just for fun?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've enjoyed this championship so much. As even next season, I'm hoping to come back stronger.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again. Congratulations, at least on a podium, even if it was a little bit not how you expected to wind up. And hopefully you'll see good results when we go down to Australia.
Thank you.
Ted Bradbury, our third place finisher after a little bit of shuffling around from the results at the end of the race. But we're going to close things up here for the Racing Edge Esports Championship with a big thank you to our sponsor, Racing Edge. Again, if you want to check them out, you can go to racingedge.com. And also, if you're looking to advertise on our channel like they do, you can go to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, where we've also got a link in the video description below to learn more, and you can find out how you can advertise here on GSRC. Of course, a big thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. see the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Sam, Peter, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. There's also our social media, which is at GSR Channel for Twitter. Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store linked down below in the video description as well. And while you're down there, just make sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race is going to be at Bathurst. That'll be Tuesday, August 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's for this series. But right up next, we have the PRL GTE Sports Car Series coming up in just a few moments. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.